Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Two Blind Mice Show. My name is Philip, your ever-loving host.
And my name's Mary, a.k.a. Vanna White.
Ever-loving wife.
Yes.
And unfortunately, today, it is just going to be the two of us. Justin is not able to make it tonight. Albert is feeling under the weather. So
we love you, Albert. Hope you feel better.
Despite your corny jokes, but it's okay. We don't hold it against you.
No.
So hopefully he'll be able to join us for our next show. Let's just wait and see. But keep him in your prayers, everyone. Megan, my daughter, will be doing the show today. So every once in a while, if she's able to, she's going to jump in and tell us if anybody has anything to say. So if you have any comments or questions, feel free to do so. And we'll see if we can address them as quickly as possible. So let me start today's show by letting you know something that happened to me today. We live in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, and I was invited to the University of Texas RGV campus to speak to a blind technology student camp. So I did, and the reason that I was invited was to start the wheels rolling because I would really like to start a school for the blind here in the Rio Grande Valley. And it did open a couple of doors for me, so I'm hoping that it does happen, and we hope it can go through because we really, really do need a school here. So you know anybody, hint, that's willing to help us out and getting this thing going, feel free to reach us out here at the Two Blind Mice Show, and let's see what we can do. Another quick announcement before we go on to our guest, and is our next guest. If you're not familiar with him yet, Meta has released what they're calling Meta glasses. It's Ray-Bans that are equipped with a camera that is essentially a Be My AI or an AI deal where you can ask questions regarding what you're seeing. It'll read text for you, your surroundings. Right now, Be My Eyes does it through the Be My AI tab. Well, this one, you're pretty much just eliminating your phone and you're going straight to your sunglasses. So
the Ray-Ban.
We're going to usually we invite the developers to come on and talk about their product. In this case, we decided to make an exception, and we invited a user. So if you want to get familiar with Meta glasses, please tune into our next show, which is going to be in June 17th at 8 p.m. Central Time. So you're more than welcome. Now, here's the deal. When I heard about this, I'm not ashamed to admit that I got very excited.
Yeah.
And let me give you a quick background. Mary and I, we're huge Houston Astros fans. We don't miss a game, and we can,
we're missing one right now, but that's okay. That's okay.
They're losing anyway.
They're losing.
Yeah, true blue friends, right? Anyways, so one day we're listening to a game, and you know how it is, guys. Come on, admit it. Sometimes you lose concentration when a commercial comes on, and I did too. And something on this one commercial stood out that hit me like a ton of bricks. But even then, I could not be sure that I heard right. So I took a guess, and I went onto Google, and I did a search on what the advertisement was. And lo and behold.
It's real.
It's real. I think it's one of the most fantastic ideas to come around. And I can't wait to be a participant in it. I want to enjoy myself. And what I'm talking about is Morgan's Wonderland. And what is Morgan's Wonderland? Well, we have our guest today, Sharon from Morgan's Wonderland. She's going to give us some information on what Morgan's Wonderland is. But I'll give you a hint. If you're a person with a disability, listen close because you're going to want to listen to this. You want to be part of the fun of something great? Hey, so what? Go for it.
Yeah.
And I titled this show, Deep in the Heart of Texas. Why? Because what we're going to talk about is located in San Antonio, which is pretty much deep in the heart of Texas.
Yep.
So, Sharon, thank you for coming on to the Two Blind Mice Show. And let's talk about Morgan's Wonderland. Let me start by asking you, what is Morgan's Wonderland?
Oh, well, good evening and hello, everybody. First of all, thank you so much for having me and for just seeing our commercial and giving, like I said to you earlier, giving our marketing team a shout out. They're doing some really great work and getting the word out to everyone here in Texas and beyond about our wonderful park. So Morgan's Wonderland was opened in 2010, and it is the world's first, and so far it's the only ultra accessible theme park that's open to the public. We're also one of only 2 nonprofit theme parks in the United States. We have entertained guests from over 2 million guests from 122 countries and counting, all 50 states. So we're just getting started, as our founder Gordon Hartman likes to say.
Wow.
And okay, so what brought this about?
So Gordon, our founder, and his wife Maggie Hartman are the parents of a beautiful daughter named Morgan. And Morgan was the inspiration for everything that we do, hence the name Morgan's Wonderland. You'll see Morgan's on all of our entities. And Morgan was born with some profound physical and cognitive disabilities. She was only diagnosed, in fact, last year. She just turned 30, and she only got her diagnosis last year. So they grew up she grew up in the family not knowing exactly what her diagnosis was. And so that made treatments and things difficult. And so Mr. Hartman, Gordon, was a home builder here in San Antonio for many years. And he retired from that business and he sold his business. And so he and his wife, Maggie and Morgan, were on a well-deserved vacation. And Morgan was around 10 years old. And they were playing at the pool. And there were some children in the pool who had a ball. And the kids were throwing the ball and playing with the ball. And Morgan wanted to join in the fun. Yeah. And so she just jumped in the pool. And the children didn't quite know how to respond to her. And she didn't quite know how to communicate to them what she wanted. And so the kids just took the ball and got out of the pool, and they went inside and left her alone. And Morgan was just devastated. And as you can imagine, any parent seeing this, they were just heartbroken for their daughter. Mm-hmm. And so that's when they decided, all right, there's got to be a way to not just create a place where people can play together, but also to create a culture of inclusion and learning and education, teaching individuals who have disabilities and special needs how to relate to one another, and individuals who are neurotypical or non-disabled, how to interact with individuals who have disabilities. So that was kind of the beginnings of Morgan's Wonderland. It originally was supposed to be more like a city park, a playground. But as people came forward, and as Gordon and Maggie started talking to doctors, caregivers, community advocates, and of course, first and foremost, individuals with varying types of disabilities and special needs, it grew into a theme park.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit that when I heard about Morgan's Wonderland and realized what it was.
Sorry, it made me cry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, we cry a lot at work. We cry a lot.
I'm so happy, and I hope that if we do make it next year, and I'll stay in touch with it. I hope we get to meet.
Yes, we'd love to have you. Yeah. Love to have you. So that was the beginning of Morgan's Wonderland, and then we realized, of course, you guys live in the valley, so you know it gets really hot in Texas in the summertime, and so we realized we needed to add water. So in 2017, we opened our second gate, which is our splash park, Morgan's Inspiration Island. And it has splash pads. It's all accessible. There's no submersible pools, so everything is inclusive. Everyone can play and splash together.
Oh,
awesome!
I'm
so glad, nice. And you're right. It'll help in the middle of the day too.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's hot where you're at in San Antonio, but we live in the valley, almost as far south as Texas as you can get. Yeah. I mean, it gets so hot here. I call it the devil's armpit. I mean,
it's really hard. Yeah.
You know, it's just bad.
Yeah.
So there's no exception. So, wow. All right. So we show up to Morgan's Wonderland. We go in. We walk in. And we're set up to go. We're figuring out this is what we're going to do. What do we expect to do?
Okay. Well, we've got some great new attractions this year, and then we have some old favorites for you to enjoy. We have, going with our old favorites, of course, everybody loves a carousel. And so our carousel is designed for different types of disabilities. We have 2 wheelchair platforms so that people don't have to transfer out of their wheelchairs in order to ride the carousel. We also have some of the carousel animals have tall backs on them for individuals who might want to ride a traditional carousel animal, but they need that extra trunk support. And so they have tall backs on them with the harness that will assist them with that. Some of our animals and our benches that do go up and down, some of them don't, because not everyone wants to do that. And then also, just from the sensory standpoint, we don't have the typical loud music and the flashing lights that you would associate with most carousels. We eliminated that for our friends who might have sensory sensitivities. So that's our carousel. We also have an example animal out in front so that individuals can look at it, they can feel it, they can get, decide if they want to ride an animal where they have to sit over and straddle it, or if they'd rather sit on one of the benches. So there's options for individuals who, want that carousel experience, but may not want to engage in a traditional way. So we have a lot of different options for folks. And then we have that example. So that's one of our old favorites. Of course, we have a train, and it was there on opening day as well, and also wheelchair accessible, so individuals don't have to transfer out of it either. And it goes around our beautiful lake, so you get a great view of the park, and you can also get a view of the water park. And there's also a narration that goes along with it, so that you know what we're passing, and everyone knows what is out there.
Wow. Okay.
I'll tell you this much, Albert, our producer, he has to rely on a wheelchair. And if he's not excited about being able to participate, I don't know what's going to excite him.
Yeah, the train sounds fun. Yeah.
Well, let him know too, we've got an accessible, roll-on accessible Ferris wheel. So gondolas were specially designed to accommodate pretty much all but the very largest of wheelchairs. And we do have a test space before you get up into the line, so you can see if your chair is going to fit. If it's not going to fit, we do have one that you can transfer into and use for the duration of the ride if you need it.
Wow.
What you guys thought of everything.
We try. We don't, we think of a lot of things, and then we get feedback from all the different communities. So, and that's a big part of what I do. My title is Director of Inclusion and Culture. My background is in the theme park industry. So, but my son's best friend is a tetraplegic and uses a power chair. So this is just kind of the perfect marriage of those two passions of mine. I love being able to make our park even more accessible, and to think of things. And you were talking about technology and the glasses. I'm actually excited to see that episode, because one of the things that I'm looking into is upgrading our technology for individuals who are blind or low vision as they come to the park. So I'm excited to see that. So I really hope that Albert gets a chance to come too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So do we. We're talking about all of us going together. So hopefully we can.
Yeah.
You must have one heck of an amazing staff to be able to do this. I don't want to sound mean or anything, especially since I'm a person with a disability. I'm blind, but I also have a mobility issue to deal with. But it takes a lot of patience to interact with people with disabilities in some cases.
Yeah. So
your staff must be an amazing.
They must be trained, right? Specially trained?
Yes. Well, first of all, yes, they are absolutely incredible. And a lot of us have backgrounds from other great, the Big Daddy theme parks.
Yeah.
A lot of us have worked for all of them. So we learned the industry and those gold standards of guest service that they're famous for. We learned that. And then we brought that to Morgan's Wonderland when we came to work here. But we also employ a lot of individuals who have disabilities themselves.
Oh, really?
It's a very welcoming place for individuals with disabilities, cognitive and physical, to find employment. One of our other entities that is across the street from the park is called the MAC, And within the MAC, we have something called the Workforce Inclusion Network, the WIN, we call it. We like acronyms, so we call it the WIN. And so we engage with them to find employers, including us, to give some great jobs and some great opportunities. And we have some individuals who work in both places. So one of our great employees is also named Albert. And Albert is a volunteer at the MAC, and he's one of our MAC ambassadors. But prior to that, he worked for many years over in the park and still does as a ride host. And so we just look at we don't try to focus on what a person is unable to do. We look at what skills, what strengths do people bring, and then we find the right spot for everyone to work together. So we have a lot of individuals with those disabilities. They also inform a lot of our policies and a lot of our conversations about how we make things more accessible and continue to improve on what we already have. So they come up with tons of suggestions, and it's really, really great. But yes, to your point, Mary, we do also train everybody. So we do have some folks who come to work for us and they've never really encountered anyone with a disability before. So they go through what we call Introduction to Inclusion. And we talk about all the different types of disabilities they might encounter with our guests and their coworkers, and terminology that is the correct terminology to use so that people feel comfortable engaging, and, tips and etiquette and the things that we do and the things that we don't do. And so yes, they go through that training, and everyone takes that training, including Gordon himself has taken it. So.
Oh, wow. Good.
Really quick, I just want to say, you guys mentioned Albert earlier. He is in the comments. He said he loves you guys, and he's there for that.
Okay.
The whole
Okay.
thing.
Of course he loves us.
Can't wait to see you, Albert.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm not going to put you on the spot. But
you're going to put on the spot.
But there's a
Okay,
reason.
right, but fair warning.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm going to ask you this question.
Sure.
Okay. Approximately how many employees do you have?
At the park or at the whole organization?
At the park.
Oh, at the park. At the park, at our peak season, we have about 300 employees.
Okay. Does that include the water park or just the?
That includes the water park. Yes.
And here's the reason I'm asking, and I'm not committing you to this, so don't worry about it. If we go, when we go, either before or after the park, before the park opens or after the park closes, I would love to get a group picture with every member of your staff.
That's going to be hard.
Oh, wow.
I know it's a big undertaking, but maybe, just maybe.
A few.
Oh,
Well, how did they do with us? Like, say, the blind, the VIPs. Do we have somebody that guides us around to different things, or how do you do with the VIPs?
No, so we don't have we don't specifically offer tours. Unfortunately, we just don't have the staff that we're able to do that. But but we find that most of our guests who come who are blind or low vision most of them are using apps. We do have some Braille. One of the projects I'm working on that we took down because it needed renovation. So when we put in the new rides, which I haven't told you about those yet.
Yeah, no.
But we pulled down our tactile maps, and so we're in the process of redoing them and refreshing them and making sure that they're up to speed. So that's a project that my team is working on right now. In fact, to get that reinstalled. So, but we don't have anyone that guides you per se. It's just like a typical theme park experience where you come and you can get information ahead of time. There's tons of information on the website. We've got great accessibility apps embedded on the website, so you can turn those on if you need them to navigate our website. And of course, you can always call the park and ask questions. And then we do have some things that are embossed Braille up at guest services. So if you need, for example, copies of the ride rules about heights and what those recommendations are in terms of safety, you can request to have one of the notebooks to use the Braille. To read the Braille.
Okay, so tell us about your new rides now that you got me on.
Yes, so this year, for the first time since we opened the park, we closed down. Normally we close down for a couple months. We're a seasonal park, but last year we closed down for 4 months, and we put in 4 new attractions. and they're all accessible, and everyone is just so excited about them, and we were so excited about them and couldn't wait for everyone to come see them. So we put in something called Jet's Wonder Bikes, which is an elevated attraction. There are 2 wheelchair platformed arms, so they're gondolas that go up in there. So think like Dumbo at a Disney theme park, for example. But you control whether your car goes up or down. And so
Okay.
2 ways. Traditionally, it's bike pedals. And that's the way that the ride was originally designed. But we challenged our manufacturer to come up with different ways to make those gondolas go up and down. And so they also developed a hand crank. So some of them have hand cranks on there for dexterity. And then, like I said, then they developed wheelchair platforms for individuals to just be able to roll right on, so you don't have to transfer out. So it's fun and it's really pretty. So I hope you get a chance to come and see it. It's a great little ride, and you get a nice view of the park. The thing that I think I'm most excited about is our 4D theater. So for years we had people saying, we love all these rides and we love the park, but when are you going to put in a thrill ride? I want something, exciting. And well, the problem with the roller coaster, of course, is there are just too many exclusions in terms of medical diagnoses. If you go to any theme park, even on the most mild roller coaster, you'll see there's just that laundry list of, we don't recommend this ride if you've got pretty much anything. So we just realized that as much as we all love roller coasters, that just really wasn't going to be an option for our park. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to make it inclusive. So we challenged a manufacturer. It's well known in the industry. It's called Cimex Eyeworks. They've designed a lot of 4D theaters. If you've been on one, you've probably been on something that they've designed. And so they said, you know what, we can come up with a roller coaster simulator. What do you think about that? That would be awesome. Then we said, how would you feel about figuring out how to make wheelchair platforms that mimic the movement? Because if you think about most 4D theaters, they're designed like traditional movie cinemas. There's wheelchair seating, but it's just a spot on the floor. And so that's the way most 4D theaters are also designed. And so we challenge them to create platforms that pitch, roll, yaw, have all the special effects that all of the other seats have as well. And then we also challenge them to come up with captioning, with visual description. So they really went to the mat for us and created an incredible attraction. So I think that one is my favorite, because just watching people ride that and being able to ride that. And it really, I was really astonished at how well it matches up with what's on the screen in terms of the movement. So it's really given some folks an opportunity to have that experience that wouldn't have been able to otherwise. Our other new attraction is a barge. So we have an fully accessible barge. It's the first time we've had an attraction out on our lake since we opened the park. We've always had catch and release fishing over at the wharf, but we've never had a ride out on the lake. And so we opened that this year. And then our one big thrill ride this year is our zip line. So we have the world's first and so far only 4-seater zip line.
Oh, wow.
So it's back to back, and you can sit with your friends. It also has some availability if you have to have an oxygen tank and have to carry that with you. There's a slot for your oxygen tank to sit in while you ride the attraction. Or if you have other equipment, there's a box there that you can put it in. It is the only attraction in the park that is not roll-on accessible. You do need to transfer to get into the seating, but we do have ramps that go up to the seating area, and we built some privacy fencing around it so that you are able to transfer in private.
Wow. Oh, I'd do that now. I didn't want to do no zip lining, but now it's a 4-seater.
Yeah, the minute
I
she
want to
found
go by
out,
myself.
the minute she found out you had zip, I ain't
going on that.
I am not a fan of hanging from cables,
No.
but I expressed that one day when we were taking some of the pictures that you might have noticed on our website and getting some audio for different things. And Morgan was there. And she said, I'm going to ride it with you so you won't be afraid. And so
Oh.
how could I turn her down?
No,
So
you can't.
yeah. And so I went on the zip line, and you know what, Mary, you're going to be fine.
Okay.
It is really
I'll take your
tall.
word for it. You and Morgan's word for it. I'll take your word
It
for
is really tall. So, you know, I'm not saying my eyes didn't close maybe at some point.
Well, I can't see down, so I guess I'll be all right.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll admit that's kind of weird because I've always been afraid of heights.
Yeah.
And I have to wonder how I'm going to react.
I don't know.
I really don't know how I'm going to react, but
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
Sounds like fun.
Okay,
So-
you mentioned that you have accessible apps and such. All right, so this is what I want to confirm, because being visually impaired, we use our devices
Yeah.
voiceover function,
Mhm.
and it's not 100% perfect. So I want to clarify this before I get all bent out of shape and happy about it. And here's what I'm going to ask you. All right, when I went to your website, I read it I heard it say, there's no cost for anyone with a special need disability. Am I right in listening to that? Correct?
Yes. Yes. So anyone with a special need or a disability is admitted free of charge. That's for all ages. We do have a couple of exclusions just for things like COPD. Or diabetes is not something that is going to get you free admission in and of itself with that diagnosis. But if you do have conditions that have given you a physical or a cognitive disability because of that diagnosis, then you would probably get in for free. But folks with high blood pressure, if you only have high blood pressure, sorry, that is not one of the things, but pretty much anyone with a disability gets in.
Yeah,
So
that is understandable.
when is your park open for what month to what month of the year?
Traditionally, we're open from March through October through Halloween. Yeah. Halloween's one of our biggest days of the year. Our water park is open in the summer months. So we just opened 2 weeks ago for the summer season, and we're open through basically until the kids here in San Antonio go back to school. So the second weekend of August, typically.
August. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question where the staff here on this end is divided on whether I should ask or not, because one member of the staff that's, I won't mention her name, but her initials are Benna.
Benna, yeah.
She says that this is a stupid question to ask. And then Albert on the flip side says,
No, it's not.
It's a stupid question to ask, but it's the right question to ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the question.
Okay. I'm ready.
Being in an accessible park, are all your parking slots accessible?
Okay. That is a good question. Well, yes and no. We have two parking lots. So our parking lot that is directly in front of the Welcome Center, which is where you would enter the park, all of those spaces in that parking lot, all of those are accessible.
Okay.
The second parking lot, which is just directly across the street, and when I say street, it's like a little 2-lane road. We share that parking lot with the soccer stadium across the street. And so that parking lot is not fully accessible. It does have some accessible spaces, but it's not accessible. But all the spaces in the parking lot right in front of the Welcome Center, all of those are accessible. Yes.
Okay. Now, here's another question that just popped into my head, which is not always a good thing.
Yeah.
You have the rides.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have fun and games?
Yeah, so some activities and different things. So we have, first of all, we have 2 accessible playgrounds that have accessible playground equipment. They have ramps. A lot of playgrounds that have ramps, they have that single ramp, but ours are 2 wide so that 2 individuals in chairs are. So full disclosure, I was at the park on opening day, but it was not because I worked there. We went there because of my son's friend I mentioned earlier, and they were about 7 years old when the park opened, and he was in a car accident. And so this was kind of the first time in 2 years where he was able to go out and kind of start living his new normal, as the doctors put it. And so we went with them opening day to this theme park. And I watched my son and his friend, run and roll up these ramps side by side together, just like they always had when they were little boys, before that accident happened. And and so you can imagine both mom and I were in a puddle. But that was when I first saw the power of this place. It wasn't just a place for individuals with disabilities to come and play. It wasn't only a park where, we're going to have for people to go, but we're not going to have them, where other people are. It wasn't supposed to be that ever. It was always supposed to be an inclusive experience where everybody could come and play together. And so when the opportunity for me arose to come and be part of this mission, I was like, I saw it firsthand on the very first day the park opened, what this place was. So that was a real gift for me to see that. And that's one reason I'm so passionate about it now, is because
you sound like you are.
Yeah,
very powerful.
Thanks for making me cry again.
I know. I told you to cry every day at work.
Oh
so
my God.
I know.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful story.
Did we touch everything?
Yeah, I think we did. Okay, say if we're coming and we have somebody that's not disabled with us, how much does it cost to get in for her? For them?
So for an adult, $29, and then we have other discounts. Children or less. We also have senior and military discounts as well. So
and the water park, it's a different park, separate. Right?
Yes, it's $10 more, $12 more, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's an upcharge, but it's not double.
Yeah, it's not.
Anything else you want to add on that we may have missed?
Can I ask you, where does the funding come for this park? I mean, I know it's a nonprofit, but do you have people that donate to you, or is it pretty much Morgan's father that does it, or it's funded?
A little bit of all of the above. So initially, of course, Mr. Hartman. So Maggie and Gordon, before they started, even had the idea to do Morgan's Wonderland. They knew that they wanted to start a foundation whose mission was to help individuals with particularly with cognitive special needs, but and again, inspired by Morgan. And so they started the Hartman Family Foundation prior to the idea of the park coming along. And then once that started happening, then yes, the foundation did seed some funding for the park, but then it's really, we wouldn't be able to do it without massive funding from our donors and our corporate donors. We have a camp, an ultra accessible camp, for example.
Really?
Our good friends at Valero were instrumental on the financial side of things in making that happen. And then at the MAC, we have the folks, we call them the MACers. They are clinical providers, some eye doctors, dentists, OT therapy, team ability. We have some non-government organizations, some city and county organizations, and they're all what we call MACers. And they have offices and facilities in the building. And so they also help to fund that operation to keep that going. But yes, and then we have a big fundraising gala once a year. So we have a whole development department who's responsible for keeping the wheels on the bus.
Wonderful. I just wondered. Okay.
You ever get so excited you feel this sensation in the pit of your stomach? You get a little antsy and you just can't wait to be part of something.
Honey. No. We already ate dinner.
No.
We're excited.
That's the way I'm feeling right now. I really.
Is there anything else that you would like to talk about Morgan's Wonderland? Anything else you'd like to put in?
Well, kind of at the beginning, I said, our founder Gordon always says we're just getting started, and so so we've opened the theme park and a splash park. I mentioned our camp. I mentioned the MAC. We also have a sports facility that's just around the corner from the park, and that's an ultra accessible recreation facility. So we have softball and tennis, really pickleball, because everybody's playing pickleball right now. Courts, and some of those do have the lighting on them for individuals who are blind or low vision to be able to play some of those sports. We also have a basketball pavilion. We also have a gym over at the park as well, and so that gets used for a lot of sports. But we have the sports facility, and like I said, we're just getting started. We've got plans to expand the sports facility to include more sports, to include an inclusive fitness center and gym. We are about to open a surgery center at the MAC for individuals and practitioners who go through specialized training and are able to take a little bit more time with procedures and desensitization. We just opened a salon at the MAC for individuals with both physical disabilities. We've got specialized equipments, and people can stay in their wheelchairs and have services performed, so they don't have to transfer to get their hair washed or anything like that.
Oh my goodness.
They also take that time with individuals who have those sensory sensitivities, who may be a little bit maybe fearful of having their hair cut or something like that.
Yeah.
So we just opened that. We've got right now, my team is heavy in the early stages of working on an ultra accommodating hotel that's going to be adjacent to the park. So rather than the one or two accessible rooms, and maybe you ask for you need an accessible room because, hey, I'm blind and I have low vision and I need an accessible room. And then they give you a mobility accessible room and say, well, that's an accessible room.
Yep.
So they've fulfilled their ADA requirement, but that doesn't do you any good.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Or if you need a mobility room and they give you the room for a deaf individual. So, so we're working on building an ultra accommodating hotel that has
oh wow!
Yeah, that takes all of those things into consideration.
That is so awesome.
You've kind of
a pool and a restaurant, and all the things that you want to have when you go to a hotel.
No way.
You kind of segued into what the question I was going to ask. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this. Currently,
yes.
You mentioned that you've had people come into the park from all over the world.
Yes.
What accommodations are currently available for anybody to stay, hotels and such?
So we do have partner hotels, and they're listed on our website, and you can check them out. Basically, what they do is they have a code, so they give you a break on the price of the hotel room. Depending on the facility, they might have different types of accommodations. Some of them list them on there. Some of them you do need to call to make sure that what you need is available. But we're about to add a few more, so stay tuned on that as well. And they're very accommodating. So if you call them and they describe the room that they have, and you say, well, that's really good, but are you able to provide this or this? They're very accommodating. They'll do everything they can to get you what you need. Not every single one of them is an ultra accommodating hotel, but they are. They've demonstrated a willingness within their hotel culture, and their leadership and their general managers have all expressed, the desire to make sure that our guests who are coming to the park are accommodated and comfortable. So they'll do the best that they can to make sure that you get what you need.
Wow, you got every aspect covered.
Well, getting there. We're not there yet. That's job security for me. So.
Yeah, it can always grow. Yes.
Yes, and just like you were talking about earlier about the apps, one of the areas that's really just exploding with technology are the things for individuals who are blind, low vision, and for the deaf community. There's just so much happening, and so that's that keeps me and my team on our toes, and that's why I value relationships with folks like you too, is getting that direct feedback from individuals from the community who live with a diagnosis, how we can make it better, what we can do to just keep raising the bar.
Okay, awesome.
Well, let me tell you, it's we've only been talking for about 30 to 40 minutes, and this has, I'll admit, been an overwhelming conversation.
Yeah,
it really has. I just wasn't aware as to how much the whole Morgan family is doing.
Yeah,
and I didn't expect this.
Yeah.
I did not expect. I pretty much scratched the surface when I went to your website, but the information that you have shared is just phenomenal.
It is.
And I can't wait to go.
Yeah, we can't wait.
We can't wait to go.
Well, we can't wait to have you. And
next year probably.
It is sometimes it is overwhelming to just kind of take a step, when you're doing something day to day, but every once in a while, we try as much as we can to just take that step back and look at the impact that this is having on and not just the lives of individuals with disabilities, but their family members, going back to our origin story about Gordon and Maggie, just, feeling heartbroken for their daughter, and then flipping that completely around and seeing the joy on a parent's face when they see their child on a swing for the first time, or getting a haircut for the first time in many, many years. And so it's just, like I said, we all cry at work a lot.
Yeah.
No matter how
cry all day.
Yeah, we do.
We're like, look at loving Mary over there in the corner again. Leave her over there in the corner.
No,
She's very good at that.
I originally started my career with Morgan's over in the park, and my office was in a little building. So when you come, I'll show you. But it's a little building in the middle of the park. It's right across from the Ferris wheel. It looks like a castle. And so that was, my office with the entertainment team over there, and it's right by the swings on the playground. And every once in a while, we would hear, just some noise coming from the playground. So we'd stick our head out the door to make sure, you want to make sure everybody's okay. And 9 times out of 10, it was a family who, had a family member, and sometimes this was an adult on the wheelchair swings. They'd never been on a swing before.
Oh my
never
God.
been able to swing on a swing, and how we all take that
For granted. Yeah.
for granted.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So that was like always instant tears when someone.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it was
Oh boy.
a really powerful experience.
Third time. Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
All right, my work here is done. I mean,
It's done.
times. Very good.
I want to say something,
Oh.
but first I want to thank you, Sharon,
Yeah.
for coming on. I'm so glad you came on the show. I really am.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going to give a short, quick message to Morgan. And I don't know if she's going to see this or not.
Yeah.
And what I want to say to Morgan is give your mom and dad a hug.
Oh,
Because what they did for you, they've made it possible for millions.
Yes.
And it's no small feat. It, I'm a guy, but even I'm holding my tears. I'm holding my tears back, and because of what I'm listening to what Sharon has shared with us, I've never felt so inclusive since I lost my vision. And I want to thank you for making this possible.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to meet Morgan when we visit, but if I do, I can't wait to give her a hug.
well, one way you can always spot Morgan is that she's always got a big wave and a smile. So.
Well, I know I can't see it, but I have a feeling that I'm going to feel it.
And I know this park will not mistreat, I've been mistreated at other parks.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had people say, you're just faking it so you can get in line. Yeah. That was at a park in Texas. Those things break your heart. Why would I fake it?
No, well, and this is why, and this is a completely different show, but I just people that try to cheat on that, I just have a lot
It's
of
horrible. So I know.
we're not going to go there, but it's just
No,
like
this is- I'm just telling
don't
you,
ever
it's a
do
whole
that.
different
If you're ever thinking about doing that, don't do that.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole different experience.
Suck it up and wait in line.
Yeah.
Don't do that because it makes it hard for everybody.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to say is, again, to Morgan, is this. Morgan, if you're going to look for somebody to hug, look for the good-looking guy wearing the sunglasses.
How many are out? Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Really enjoyed it. Thanks
I'm going to stay in
for
touch.
making me cry too many times.
We're going to stay in touch with you, and when we do
Yes.
eventually make it out there, I'll let you know, and then hopefully we can meet.
Thank you.
Because
That would be great. And
you and your entire staff are doing
Yeah.
one of the most fantastic things I
Yeah.
have ever had the pleasure of finding out about.
Yeah.
And thanks to the Houston Astros, I would have never found out about you.
Well,
I'm going to forgive you for that because I am a Dodgers fan. So
well, thank you for being with us. May God bless everything you guys are doing for people like us that need it. Okay.
Well, and same to
Thank
you
you so
for
much.
what you're doing here.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
thank you.
night.
Have
Thank
a good
you
night.
too.
You're welcome to stick around. We're
Bye-bye.
going to do a closing for about a minute or two, but if you need to sign off,
Bye
feel free to
bye.
do
Thank
so.
you.
Everyone, just a quick recap. As you heard, this is Morgan's Wonderland amusement park / water park as well. I will be putting up the link to the website in the morning as soon as this episode uploads, or whether I fall asleep sooner or later. I don't know. I'm going to put it up so you can have access to it. Let's face it, guys, this is one fantastic organization. I am looking forward to it. I do hope that we get to participate, with Albert and anybody else. I mean, I do admit it. I'm serious. I hope I get to meet Morgan. I hope I get to meet her mom and dad. Because if anybody has done that I've met so far in my life, has done anything to make it inclusive, it's them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad. The irony about it is it's a 4-hour drive from where we live. And I didn't know about it, but I'm so glad I found out. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the show. But let me just remind you, on June the 17th, we will have a guest, and we should be talking about the meta glasses. I'll be announcing that. And we're just going to go ahead and see how that goes. But let me just
prayer.
Yeah, I know that was about to, let me just close in prayer. Justin's the one that usually does this. He couldn't make it tonight, so it falls on me, and I've got no problem with it. And I want to focus this prayer on Morgan's Wonderland. And I'm asking the Lord to more than bless them for what they do. Jesus said, for the least of these. And not many people realize that the least of these includes people with disabilities. So Lord, please bless Morgan's Wonderland. Bless those who go to the park. Bless those who work at the park, because they're doing your work, Lord. They may or may not know it, but they are, because they made us feel like part of the family. And I'm trying to.
That's okay. Continue.
A little bit of a blooper, but
Sorry.
Lord, thank you so much for letting Sharon come on the show. I've never been affected by a broadcast. No, and it's because of you that we do what we do, Father. And we hope that we can bless everyone, just like Morgan's Wonderland is blessing those of us with the disabilities and limitations that have been given to us. Father God, we ask you that you protect us and anybody who's listening to that show, anybody who's going to Morgan's Wonderland, anybody who works at Morgan's Wonderland. This is a massive prayer, but it's not beyond your means, Father God. Thank you very much. And Lord God, God bless all of us. Amen. Okay, Meg, you
Okay,
can
Meg, you take it
turn
home.
us off.